In this short presentation, I'll show you how to create a black hole table with the advanced black hole table module. When we talk about advanced, that doesn't mean that the table itself is any different than any of the other tables that you create with any of the other modules. It's just that the data that we have available is and can be considered advanced, and I'll show that by example as of right now. So the first thing you need to do is to go down to the advanced black hole table feature. And the reason why we call it advanced is that in comparison to the quick black hole table, it requires more information to be able to create a black hole table. The upside of that is that the resulting black hole table will be more robust and I guess also reliable because you have significant amount of compositional information that you input while creating the table. This compositional information is not very expensive to obtain. I think I've seen quotes to get this type of information where you have separated gas and separated oil compositions measured up to C7 plus many times for between 500 to maybe a couple of $1,000, which put in perspective, if you compare to a full PVT report, is and can be considered extremely reasonable. So just for the sake of example, I think it's also important for me to show you a real example. Okay, what data is actually required and where can we get this data? So the data actually looks more or less like what you have on the screen in front of me here. So you get a separated gas analysis and an associated separated oil analysis. And most of the commercial labs can provide you this, and they all have different prices, etc. But it's very standard type of measurements. For the sake of this example, I've cheated a little bit and digitized that particular data, so the creation of the black hole table will be a little bit quicker. The first thing we need to do is to import the separated gas and separated oil compositions. I've digitized those here in the table to the left for the specific data set that you just saw. And I simply just copy paste that into the input table or input pane right here. Okay. We see that already the reservoir temperature and pressure is there. So just the required information left is just separator GOR, the separator temperature right here, the separator pressure, and the molecular weight of C7 plus for the gas. Let's see, 721.1, then 141 right there. If your compositions for some reason doesn't add up to 100, you can also normalize this to make sure that it adds up to 100 before you click save, and the calculation will then run. What's important for me to emphasize is that behind the scenes here, what's actually happening is that the algorithm is recombining these separator rates to the total GOR. And then the C7 plus distribution is split up until C30 plus or C36 plus or whatever is the highest or heaviest component that you've described with your equation of state. And to do that exercise, they're actually using the gamma model, or behind the scenes we're actually using the gamma model for that. That gamma model can, of course, be found on the fluid models, and if you go to the relevant field, you can also see whatever shape and bound that's relevant for your particular field right here. So just going back to the table in a similar fashion as we've seen for the quick black hole table, we now have all the saturated properties listed right here. We show the saturation pressure. In this case, we have predicted an undersaturated gas with a dew point of around 4,500, with the fluid initialization as we see in front of us on the screen right here. You can also export this to all the different formats that you might need, or if there's another engineer in your team that needs this table and you would like them to to download these things locally on their machine instead of sending files, you can also click the copy URL link right here and send that in an email or the link in an email to that particular person, and that person can go into this well directly, him or herself. Thank you.